health to mental health now. We're going to take a closer look at something that's been getting a lot of attention on social media, the gray rock method, also known as gray rocking.
I mean, this is kind of a weird one. It's a technique for dealing with difficult people. One psychologist described it as a communication tool that involves being less engaged during an emotionally toxic interaction. So kind of like, imagine this is like, if you're in this tense moment, you handle it by imagining that you are just simply a dull gray rock.
We are joined now by clinical psychologist Dr. Jennifer Hartstein for more on how this works. I didn't know it had a name, but I've been doing this my entire life. Most of my conversations, to be honest with you. I call it tuning out.
He's letting you know, Savannah. He's letting you know.
Yeah, the Washington Post reports, gray rocking, it's coined by a mental health blogger, actually way back in 2012, which is often what happens with these things, is it gets a term years ago and then suddenly it becomes a thing. Why is it taking off recently? Explain the theory behind it.
Well, I think the theory behind it, you know, in a behavioral psychologist model, this is kind of called extinction, right? We have a lot more conflict, a lot more challenges in communication with people. And if we don't reinforce that behavior of the other person, eventually they lose interest in us and they go away. So if we can be this gray rock and kind of give nothing back, it takes away the intensity of the interaction, so therefore the interaction mellows out and that person takes their attention someplace else and away from us.
Okay, imagine though, right, I mean, this isn't like always appropriate to just essentially, Joe.
No.
By the way. How can
you need to pick your spots, right?
Okay, exactly. I get though why, like, sometimes, you know, kind of like protect your peace kind of vibe, like you have to do that at certain points, but how can we determine where this could be effective, safe, I don't know if that's the right word, or kind of like at least respectful of the other person?
All really important questions, because safety has to come first. And this behavior is not going to work with everybody, and there's going to be certain situations where you really can't disengage in this way, right? But let's say it's a coworker where it's really someone you have to see every day, but you don't really like them, so you just want to keep it neutral, or a co-parent that might be really challenging for you to deal with. So if you can stay neutral, keep your responses concise, kind of, you might be emotional internally, but don't show it externally, and get out of there as quickly as you can, it keeps it from escalating into a bigger problem. And that's really what we want to avoid with some people in our lives. I mean, Joe, it shouldn't be Savannah, but just saying.
Wait, actually reading the gray rocking description, I'm like, my husband that is how he handles, but it actually just enrages me more.
Right, well, okay, that could be what happens too. People might try harder to try and get your attention too. But I think the point is, I think for people who do it, I would guess, is to avoid anger, avoid screaming, whether it's because it's something they've experienced in their life or they don't like conflict or whatever it is. Remaining calm and neutral in the heat of the moment is always important, but it's easier said than done. Definitely. So what are some of the tips to put this method into practice?
Well, I think the key is practice, right? And I think the key is having some go-to responses. We all know the person that creates that anxiety or tension in us, or we know who that is. So can you have like responses at the ready? Can you have a dip kind of practice? So like you can say what you need to say and then leave and get out of there so that you don't engage in it longer than you need to. And again, if you remove your own reactivity, for a toxic person, there's no more fun there. So it takes it away.
Dr. Jennifer Hartstein, a great conversation. Thanks for breaking it down for us. We're not gray rocking you. You're welcome.
I'm not capable, I think, of gray rocking.
Me either, Savannah, me either.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, continuing coverage on ABC's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's late night talk show. Up next, we're going to talk to an industry insider about the decision that is sending shockwaves from Hollywood to Washington and beyond.